Elon Musk is doing more for us and civilization and the planet than anyone else, in my opinion. But how are his social skills, and is he an alpha? At the end of this video, I'm gonna give you my ranking 1 to 10 on both of those scales, but I'm gonna stop you at the end before I do, because I wanna know how you rate it after we break down this footage. In the comments below, let me know on 1 to 10, both of those scales. Now, we're not going through his entire video library. We're looking at one interview that he just did with a couple of guys from HBO. He sat down and they had about a 10-minute interview, which we're gonna dissect and break down. My name is Barron Cruz, and here on the Charisma Matrix, I teach you the social skills you need to get what you want out of life. I don't want you to be in the company lunchroom and for Peggy to come up to you and be able to dress you down. I want you to know how to handle that, to put her in her place and make yourself look good. If you don't, I'd encourage you, look at a lot of the videos on this channel. And if you really want to get it dialed in, you can touch or click up here or go to socialinvincibility.com. It's a program I put out. You can blast through it in one day and it'll get you where you need to be so you know how to handle Peggy next time you see her walking down the hall towards you. So let's jump into this footage and look at the nuances. I'm going to break down. I'm going to be stopping the footage. I'm going to tell you the little nuances and things that I see that you might not see so you can really understand what's going on behind the scenes and make a good judgment in your rating towards the end. Let's jump right in.
Well, thanks for doing this. We really appreciate it. And sure. I mean, just to sort of set the stage, I think we sort of have your shared concern about AI and about people not really understanding what it is, but also understanding sort of the potential consequences for humanity.
No problem. I might occasionally need to stop and check for any emergencies coming through.
All right, I'm not giving or taking any points from this because the dude runs SpaceX and he runs Tesla. So if somebody needs him for something, maybe they've got a $20 million launch going up or a couple $100 million launch more likely. It's more important for them to get a hold of him than to appease these guys who are interviewing him. So that's not something I'm going to take points from. It's unfortunate that it happened like right at the beginning of the interview, but for the most part, I'm going to let that one slide.
Got Bolero stuck in my head. Sorry?
What's that?
I have Bolero stuck in my head.
Good. Let's plunge in.
Okay.
I mean, at the very basic, when you think...
Okay. What did you notice? There's two things. I don't want them to sneak by you. Let's go back and watch them and break them down. I'll tell you what they are before we do rewatch them. The first thing is that he's used to people being yes men, right? He runs these huge companies. When he's making jokes and he's saying things around Tesla, you think people are going to laugh at him every single time, whether they're funny or not. And in that instance, he tells these guys, he's whistling a song. He's like, oh, I got the song stuck in my head. Most of those people that work under him, subordinates, they'd be like, oh, it's so funny, or, oh yeah, that's a great song, that's a really good one. But for people you don't know that aren't yes men, it's kind of a weird thing to bring up. And the second thing that he did, he keeps adjusting his neck like it's sore, like he got a bad night's sleep. And that's fine. He probably did get a bad night's sleep. I mean, the dude's under unbelievable stress. But when you got a 2-camera setup like you do right here, you'll notice they switch from one camera to another, and you're interviewing with HBO. It's a pretty big interview. You might want to be a little more self-aware of how that looks to constantly be kind of stretching your shoulders. It just doesn't look professional. It just doesn't look confident. Let's watch that back.
Got Bolero stuck in my head. Sorry?
What's that?
I have Bolero stuck in my head.
He almost looks at him like he's waiting for him to laugh.
Good. Let's plunge in.
Okay.
When you say that we'll exceed human intelligence, at some point soon, the machine's going to be smart, not just smarter, like exponentially smarter than any of us.
Ensuring that the advent of AI is good, or at least we try to make it good, seems like a smart move.
But we're way behind on that.
Yes, we're not paying attention. We worry more about what name somebody called someone else than whether AI will destroy humanity. That's insane.
Before we get to like solutions,
we're like children in a playground.
Okay, that's the first alpha trait that he's shown, and also a good social confident trait. He showed the ability, the willingness to talk over somebody who's interviewing him and to override kind of their agenda. So he made a point, which is a really interesting point, that right now, leadership throughout the world is basically more interested in petty things. The example he uses is what name someone called somebody versus the chance of AI overrunning the world and taking over and doing things that are not good to humans. And the other interviewer kind of jumps in immediately with a question to kind of gloss over that. Elon wants to make that point, and he realizes the point was not made. So he goes back and says, we're just like children on a playground, to be sure that point was made.
The AI will destroy humanity. That's insane.
Before we get to like solutions,
We're like children in a playground.
this could be a huge problem for society. What are the scenarios that scare you most?
Humanity really is not evolved to think of existential threats in general.
Okay, I want to stop it right there. He's able to leave that emotion, because he was kind of emotionally sure. We're like children on a playground. People are upset about what name they're being called as opposed to the fact that the world might blow up. But then look what happened immediately. He's directly back into a logical analysis, and he's saying, okay, well, in all fairness, humans are not exactly designed to look at things that aren't, we're designed to look at things that are very close to us. So being able, if you've seen any of my content before on social skill, being able to control your emotions and not have it whip you around, but rather you control it. When you want to ride the emotions and be expressive emotionally, you can. But then when you want to discuss things logically, you can switch to it immediately. It's a very powerful social trait. It's something that he displayed right here.
Humanity really is not evolved to think of existential threats in general. We're evolved to think about things that are very close to us, near term, to be upset with other humans, and not to really to think about things that could destroy humanity as a whole. But then in recent decades, just really in the last century, we had nuclear bombs, which could potentially destroy civilization, obviously. We have AI, which could destroy civilization. We have global warming, which could destroy civilization, or at least severely disrupt civilization.
Excuse me, how could AI destroy civilization?
It would be something the same way that humans destroyed the habitat of primates. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be destroyed, but we might be relegated to a small corner of the world.
See that? They actually take it. That's not the most flattering thing for HBO to do, but they're just showing that he's fidgeting. It's like a third grader who keeps sticking their finger in a little old wore out hole at his desk or in his binder, something like that. It's just a nervous habit. You're going to notice here that he's also biting his lip, which is also a nervous habit. And that takes points from him on two different fronts, both alpha and social skills. Because as far as alpha is concerned, it shows a lack of confidence. When you're doing things like that, that's to diffuse internal nervousness, showing that he's feeling nervous, not a confident trait. But then also, as far as social skills are concerned, you make the other person feel what you're feeling in any interaction. So by him giving off these nervous twitches, he's making the people he's talking to feel nervous. So really, twitching and shows and tells of nervousness are some of the worst things you can do for both being perceived as alpha as well as being perceived as having high social skills and being somebody that people want to talk to.
AI, even in this moment, just with the technology that we have before us, be used in some fairly destructive ways? You could make AI, even in this moment, just with the technology that we have before us, be used in some fairly destructive ways.
One reason that regulators and others are a little bit in
There's
denial.
the neck thing again. And I want to point out, his neck's probably in pain, but you can go 10 minutes and not show that during an interview like this. He needs to be more aware of that.
The regulation is put in place is slow and linear,
Right.
and we are facing an exponential threat. And if you have a linear response to an exponential threat, it's quite likely the exponential threat will win. That, in a nutshell, is the issue.
You're a neuroscience company, and you're working to build basically an interface to the brain. When will I be able to get the interface implant?
It's probably on the order of a decade.
So wait, we have that imprint in our brain, implant in our brain.
Yeah.
We download most of Jim. Then could I, in the digital Jim,
Yes.
could I make him a skilled Mandarin speaker or a tuba player
Yes.
and re-upload it to him?
Yeah. Along the way, Neuralink is going to help solve a lot of nerve problems.
Okay, when he gets in his element here, he has great eye contact, right? He's looking these guys dead in the eye, showing he has complete confidence in what he's saying. It's very hard to look somebody in the eye if you're kind of trying to spin a story or don't know exactly what you're talking about. But you'll notice the entire time here, especially when he's in his element talking about something that he really knows, his eye contact is really spot on,
You
just
speak
like
in
this.
person, we've watched some of your interviews. Like sometimes you seem visibly sad about what's happening.
I think we should try to take the set of actions that are most likely to make the future good for humanity. I'm pro-human.
Okay, he's pro-human. What does that mean? We're all humans. Of course we're pro-human. If you're not pro-human, what are you? You're against yourself? You're against people? I've heard him say that before, and it just shows a lack of self-awareness. I mean, I'm not exactly sure if he means something other than the clear kind of interpretation of that. But you go around telling people you're pro-human when people have already talked about jokingly that he may be some alien from another planet. It's just a weird thing to do, and I don't think he's very self-aware about how that comes across.
And my faith in humanity has been a little shaken this year, but I'm still pro-humanity.
You've said that this has been the toughest year for you, the most sort of taxing year for you. Like, why?
Okay, before we watch this, I want to tell you, this is his strongest suit in my mind. He is dead honest with no filter. Listen to how he answers that question. What would a lot of people say if you're like, man, this has been a tough year for you, right? You had some tough things you went through. What would most people say? Oh, but it was good. We came out on top. We learned a lot of things. It wasn't that bad. Looking back, it was great. How does he answer it?
How many
I
hours?
was working, so 7 days a week, sleeping in the factory. I worked in the paint shop, general assembly, body shop.
You ever worry about yourself imploding? Like it's just too much?
Absolutely. No one should put this many hours into work. This is not good. And people should not work this hard.
That's someone speaking honestly.
This is not good. And people should not work this hard. They should not do this. It's very painful.
Painful in what sense?
It hurts my brain and my heart. It hurts. This is not recommended for anyone. I just did it because if I didn't do it, then good chance Tesla would die.
And this is a guy who has a quote like, no one ever accomplished anything important on 40 hours a week. So this is a guy who promotes incredible amounts of work, and he's still saying like he's working too much. I mean, he's sleeping on the factory floor.
It hurts my brain and my heart. It hurts. This is not recommended for anyone. I just did it because if I didn't do it, then good chance Tesla would die.
Okay, his vocal power is about a wash. I'm going to call it neutral. He speaks with a good rapport neutral tone, right? It's not supplicative and it's not too authoritative, which usually is not a problem, but he has an honest rapport neutral tone, but he's jittery. When he talks, I don't know if it's the way that his thoughts flow into his mind, but it's jittery and it has an unsmooth rhythm, which just makes it kind of tough to listen to. It doesn't sound smooth, doesn't sound confident. Like, think about an old cowboy talking with a real nice smooth rhythm, a very consistent delivery, a nice even pace. So when they do mix it up, it's intentionally. It sounds like someone's like handing him papers, and then sometimes they come faster. He's like, and then the thing, and then he stops. And then someone hands him a paper. It's like he's not in control of his delivery and the pace. And so that really doesn't come across very well. So his tonality is fine, but his actual rhythm and delivery, as you'll probably notice here, the next thing he says is not.
Do you believe in God?
I believe there's some explanation for this universe.
You see? That sounded like, I believe there is some explanation.
I believe there's some explanation for this universe, which you might call God.
Elon Musk, thank you for an amazing conversation.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Fascinating.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Appreciate it, sir.
there it is. Now it's your time to shine. I'm going to pause the video here in just a second and I'm going to pause the screen and I'm going to give you time to go in the comments below. But what I want you to do is I want you to put your comments in this format. Just put alpha, semicolon in your number, and then social skills, semicolon in your number. I want to see what you guys think below. So I'm going to let this play for 10 seconds, and then I'm going to tell you what I thought. All right, this was a little sad for me because this guy's changing the world. He's incredible. I'm a huge fan of him. But you know what? I'm ranking people with their social skills and their alphaness. So I'm sticking to that. I'm holding true. His social skills, a dead 4. I'd like to make it higher. He's just not a smooth dude. His delivery is weird. He's awkward. He has strange mannerisms. He fidgets. He does all the bad things. 4 may actually be a bit of a kind rating. Now, his alphaness, I'm giving him a 7. I teetered on 6.5 to 7, but he is a confident guy. He has good eye contact when things are going good. You can see he's not like a timid guy. He's been around. He's been in a leadership position for a while. He's comfortable making decisions, you know, with his Twitter and things like that. He puts out stuff that he never should, that everyone's telling him not to, but he's making the decision to override that, an alpha male trait. So I'm giving him a 4 social skill and a 7 for alpha male. Now, I want to know if you consider yourself an alpha male. I'm curious what you would do in a situation that I was in last weekend. I was out on a date, and there was this very short guy at the bar, short older guy at the bar that kind of tried to clown on me. If you want to hear that story and see how I handled it and see if you'd handled it the same way, you can click right here to do that. If you haven't seen this video right here, I think you'd like this one too. You can click there and I'll talk to you over there. Story. 2 days ago, I was out on a date and there was a guy at a bar who kind of was talking down to me a little bit, and I'm going to tell you how I handled it.